Hello everyone, welcome back to Danganronpa 3 where spoilers are bound. We left off being stuck in thoughts, and I think, and I thought, and I think I may have an idea. Because
the culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark. You see, our
it says that, but if that's true,
light? You mean candle?
If that's true, we should have been able to see the light.
Get under the floor and sneak into the empty room to...
At least that's what I'm thinking. If not, then we're back in a dead end again.
Hold on a second.
Let's try that again.
How'd they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, a villain had a light.
Bam!
That's wrong!
Ugh, fuck. I had to think about that like freaking hell.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor.
Because we should have been able to see it through the hole. Right?
There was a hole in the corner of the room.
Yes.
If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
It would have had to been incredibly dim light.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
At least not with your eyes.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch-black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tanko lined up funny? Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tanko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Is it possible? Maybe the culprit wasn't under the floor, but they set up a trap underneath the floor. But no, if that was the case, they would have had to set up in all the rooms unless Himiko did it. Because Himiko was the one that picked it, so unless she is it, they would have had to set up all 3 rooms for a trap like that. Plus, Himiko was the one who wanted to volunteer for us, too.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
Is that supposed to be a nod at the second game?
That'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit.
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point. Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. For when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
And she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Huh?
Since Galta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Alternate.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no doubt!
The fuck?
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
I mean, she did lift it.
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no doubt! When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
How would it Going that. What was my other piece of evidence?
Like that.
When Cage...
Stone marker. See, I'm thinking the stone may have somehow been used to mark where she was underneath the floorboard. Before. It was not enough to kill her immediately.
Lifted, culprit stabbed Tanko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
No, because the white sheet had blood on it. She was dead
Obviously,
before.
Himiko is the culprit.
Wait, no. But there was blood on the white sheet. So she couldn't have died when the cage lifted because the sheet was removed first.
Damn it.
Oh, come on.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
Oh, I did not mean to do that. I don't see how anything would disprove that she wasn't under the cage the whole time. But Gota's statement is to be killed when it was removed.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tanko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
Plus, there's blood in it.
So who lifted the cage?
I don't think this is gonna be it, but
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit.
you know.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time.
Wait, what? No, there's no holes. Crouched over in the cage. The wound 3 feet high. Placed over, Himiko removed it. See, it's not an agreement statement.
She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Now, I had the right idea, just the wrong statement.
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Whoa. More violent?
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out! Tenko died after the set. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage! They stuck the thin blade through the gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo! The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that
Sitting there
far
with her neck exposed.
from the cage. Just gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the... And that's none other than...
Neck exposed.
Kyo! The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
Bam!
I'll cut through your words. Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
Ah! How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that! Screw spirits!
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done
wait!
that!
I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage? If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
Wait, you trying to say she committed suicide?
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have noticed.
I agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
Are you honestly trying to say she committed suicide? No.
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
What did you say?
Are you saying Tenko is the culprit? She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But why? Then she used her final moment to throw it under the floorboard. But why would she do that?
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
She set up all in advance, but why?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
But why?
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right? Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Why?
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her. Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait! We should believe Tenko's last words!
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Himiko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe!
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
Proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
What more could be? How?
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
So far,
Position. The injury on the back of her neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her. Oh, not enough to instantly kill her. See what's in the
this side
hole.
seems to be...
Stabbed in the back. She wasn't stabbed in the front, she was stabbed in the back.
The best
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle.
Oh no!
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her.
What would prove?
So... So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle. And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces.
The last bit of strength. So see, it doesn't say fatal or instant, so the fact that she wasn't knocked out immediately has to have some meaning. Ounce or strength.
So far, suicide...
What in the world?
seems to be the best
Her
explanation.
plan was to take us down with her.
Damn it!
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
It would be kind of hard to
Her plan
stab
was to take
yourself
us
in the
down with
back
her.
with a sickle in a small cage.
So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle. And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength.
That's bullshit. No. You would have been able to throw it away in time, no?
I was wrong!
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Definitely
Her
instant.
plan was to take us down with her.
As far as we know, it wasn't
So
instant.
she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person!
What in the world?
But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle. And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength.
I was wrong!
Enough time to
So
throw
far,
it.
suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last.
Oh no!
That's the string.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her.
He proves it was not instant death. It doesn't do anything about her wanting to take us down with her.
So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle.
What could disprove that she brought the sickle? Could have bought the sickle. She could have bought the sickle. Back up on next.
And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
Sickle under. Ah! What am I missing? Okay. Died in a crouched position.
So suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
I don't see how this has anything to do with any of them. We can't really prove it was dropped in it, though.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle.
Don't see anything wrong with the sickle part. I mean, honestly, I question where the hell she would have hidden it. But
And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her.
Okay. I don't know how the book at all would come up with total.
So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle. And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces.
That seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person!
Damn it! I can't think of the thing. Shit. There's something minorly missing here. Victim was stabbed.
Who did commit suicide? It would
What the
explain
hell?
how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle.
I'm not sure. I'll be back.